Hello guys and welcome to Spotternut Scale Creations YouTube channel. This is my very first video and it will be an inbox review of the brand new P-51D Mustang from Eduard and the dual combo boxing in 72nd scale Royal Class Edition. Let's open the box and take a look at what's inside. On top of everything there is a quite comprehensive instruction sheet. As you can see beneath it there are several sprues as well as some resin items along with a coin and some pre-cut masks for the clear parts. The clear parts come in separate plastic bags as well as the other sprues to protect them from scratching and such. One sprue contains all the parts for the fuselage, wings, horizontal and vertical stabilizers along with flaps and such. We have one sprue for the cockpit parts along with the propellers, spinners, etc. We have the other sprue for the second kit, fuselage, wings, tailplanes. And last but not least we have one sprue for all the armament options, fuel tanks, rocket pods, etc. On the box bottom we have a pair of pre-cut foam plugs for the landing gear base to ease the masking before we paint. We have a photo etched frets with the seat belts, instrument panel, etc. We have pre-cut masks for the clear parts and of course the quite comprehensive decal sheet with stenciling complete for the two kits as well as the individual decals for these 14 somewhat marking options. Let's take a closer look at the individual sprues and we'll start off with the fuselage and wing sprue. Here we have the two fuselage sides split vertically. We have the vertical stabilizer with or without the fillet plate. We have the wings with flaps split horizontally and we have the horizontal stabilizers with either fabric or aluminium elevons. The surface detail is really good. Fine recessed panel lines, lots of fine riveting, and this will really pop out with the wash. As you can see on the wings there are recesses to add resin gun base, and by now Eduard will for sure have released those in their resin range. The next sprue to take a look at is the cockpit and landing gear bay sprue, and here you have all the details for the cockpit with the cockpit side walls. You have the cockpit floor with the fuel tank. You have all the small bits and pieces for the landing gear base. You have the propeller with the spinners, and you have lots of other detailing stuff as the exhaust pipes. I think detail here is very good, looks very much like the 48 scale counterpart, and for the most builders this detailing will be sufficient to build an out of the box P-51D. Last sprue we take a look at is the weapons sprue, and here we have all the parts for the fuel tanks, the bombs with the tail fins, we have the rocket installations as well as the bazooka pods found on different versions of the Mustang. As you can see there are quite a few versions of the P-51 fuel tanks coming with this kit. You have both the paper tanks in two different styles as well as the 75 gallon and up to 150 gallon aluminium tanks. The clear sprue, not as comprehensive as the 48 scale, but here you have three different styles of canopy and you have one windshield. You have gun sights as well as position and navigation lights. Let's take a look at the instructions. On the first page we have the sprue layout diagram as well as what parts in resin, photo etch and pre-cut masks are included. As you can see here, two photo etched frets, one mask set and two different styles of exhausts, one shrouded and one unshrouded version. Two different versions of main wheels along with the tail wheels and two pieces of seat with molded on seat harness. We had a color callouts as well on this page. Turning the page here, we jump right into the very build of the aircraft, and as with almost every other aircraft I have built, this one starts with the cockpit as well. As you can see, lots of different parts for different marking options, and the marking options ranges from Alpha to November, and that makes no less than 14 marking options. Clear instructions which marking options should have which parts, and the color callouts are in Mr. Hobby Paints. Next page handles the closing of the fuselage, adding of the vertical stabilizer, along with the construction of the main landing gear bay. The next page handles the installation of the main landing gear bay in the lower fuselage wing and adding the top wing halves as well. Take note here which holes to drill for your preferred weapons options, and at the end here you can see we have some scribing and panel line filling to do. Turning the page again, our attention is drawn into the installation of the complete wing subassembly, mating it to the fuselage assembly, and then adding the horizontal stabilizers. Ending the build, or well, not ending, continuing with the instrument panel shrouding and installation of this. Next page is for the oil cooler exhausts and for the tail wheel installation, along with some small bits and pieces for the lower fuselage. On the next page after that, there is the main landing gear as well as the flaps installation. On the next page we install the flaps, the main landing gear doors, and the next page from that we handle the propeller with its spinner, we handle the canopy and windshield as well as the exhausts. Last two pages of the instructions handles the installation of fuel tanks, rockets and bombs. And to finish off we have clear instructions on how to use the pre-cut masks for the clear parts. With the build complete, the rest of the instructions handles the decal placement for all the different marking options included in the kit, and there are options for United States Army Ag Corps aircraft as well as Royal Air Force aircraft. With all 14 marking options taken care of, there is one page dedicated to all the stenciling, and there are quite a lot of stenciling on a P-51. With the build complete, the rest of the instructions handles the decal placement for all the different marking options included in the kit, and there are options for United States Army Ag Corps aircraft as well as Royal Air Force aircraft. Let's take a closer look at the clear sprue here. We have three different styles of canopy. We have one windshield, gun sights, and as well navigation lights and some smaller clear parts. Let's take a closer look at the surface detail of the wings and fuselage halves. As you can see here on the lower wing part, there's some fine riveting and fine recessed panel lines which really will look the part under a coat of paint and a wash. Regarding the horizontal stabilizers, we have two different options, one with fabric covered elevons and one with aluminium covered. Recessed rivets here as well. Main sprue for all the cockpit details and landing gear base. As you can see, the cockpit wall detailing is really nice. There's some nice detailing on the landing gear base, and we have the seat as well. Zooming in on the cockpit, you can see the cockpit floor and the fuel tank with its fine details, and zooming in on the side walls of the cockpit, you can see the detailing is quite sufficient for this scale, especially if you choose to have your canopy closed. The last sprue is for the armament, the ordnance, with all the rockets, bombs and fuel tanks. As you can see, different fuel tanks we have, ranging from the paper tanks 110 gallon to the 75 gallon aluminum tanks and up to 150 gallon aluminum tanks. One very nice addition for this boxing is the pre-cut foam plug for the main landing gear bay. As you can see, of course, with the imprinted Royal Class Edition insignia. This is for the main landing gear base. There is one for the left and one for the right side, and of course these fit perfectly. Only one set of plugs included in this dual combo, so you have to reuse it for the second kit, but that should be of no problem as these are of course reusable, and you can save them for your later Eduard Mustangs as well. Also included in this boxing are two photo etch frets. As you can see, one for the P-51D-5 and one for the P-51D, and that should be -10 and upwards. Most of these small photo etched items are for the cockpit and a few for the fuselage as well. Two complete nickel sheets for the stenciling. As there are two kits in this boxing, there are two stenciling sheets as well. Quite nice with lots of small stenciling. Take good note of the stenciling instructions to get the placement right. One large sheet of decals for the 14 individual marking options, and as you can see, this is so big that it don't fit into my counter camera setting completely. There are national insignias included for two complete kits, both in US and British markings. And then there are the decals for all the individual 14 options. Quite nice decals, Eduard printing, and I do not think those are of the removable carrier film version, but I have not tested them yet. Well, that wraps it up. That was the inbox review of the Eduard 72nd scale P-51D Mustang dual combo in Royal Class Edition. Thank you for watching. Very welcome back to Spot and Not Scale Creations YouTube channel in the future. Please, if you did like this video, give me a thumbs up or leave me a comment. Thank you and all the best. See you next time. Bye.